Hey guys, we're up near the Red Rocks in West Las Vegas. I'm here with Charlie from Electricity Bikes in Washington, D.C. Really special event. We got to check out the new Specialized Turbo Levo SL, and we've got the Expert right here, full carbon, just beautiful. We've even got the S-Works model. This one is $13,525. This one's $9,025. I don't know what Specialized, they got this $25 thing. Really amazing bikes, and they've got the new SL 1.1 mid-drive motor. This is proprietary for Specialized, manufactured by a German company. It weighs 4.3 pounds. It's amazing, super compact, lightweight, fairly peppy, surprisingly so, given that this is a mountain bike. You know, there's a little bit more friction, a little bit more weight happening with the tires and the frame and, you know, full suspension setup. Charlie and I checked out some of the new Creo models, which were the first bikes to have this motor, and on those it was like, well, yeah, I mean, this feels pretty good, but they're lightweight. They've got those really efficient tires. How are you feeling with them on the full suspension mountain bikes now?
I mean, it's definitely noticeable, the difference between the super light and the regular Levo, but it's still pretty strong.
And the regular Levos, now they have the what is that, the Brose
S Mag motor.
Magnesium,
yeah.
and these also have magnesium coat housing, yeah. So it's like they're both designed to be pretty lightweight, but I think those ones are around 6 pounds and this one's still 4.
And I think the biggest difference is this is going to be 35 Newton meters and that one's 90 Newton meters.
Yeah,
you know, that the grunt for simply like heading up really steep stuff, this is great. I think for cross country it's outstanding.
Absolutely.
But if I'm climbing 3,000 meters,
yeah. So we were talking to some of the folks at Specialized that loaned us these bikes, and they'd said the frame is a little bit longer, understandably, because they've got to fit that motor down there, but this is based off the Stumpjumper platform. I honestly am really liking this bike. I'm a lightweight rider. I weigh 135 pounds. I like pedaling fast. I like being able to like toss the bike around a little bit and kind of wheelie up stuff and over rocks. And this bike lets you do it. Like so many of the other full suspension electric bike out there, they're just so much heavier. They're in the like 50-pound range. So for this to be 38.8 pounds is just amazing. And it can get a little bit more range if you want to, because they've got this range extender feature. Here it is right here. 160 watt hours of additional power. It's shaped like a bottle. It fits right there in that Z cage. They've got this rubber band to sort of keep it from vibrating all around. It's really neat to see this sort of optional accessory, 2.3 pounds. So if you're someone who says, well, yeah, I mean, this bike is fairly lightweight and I can toss it around, but my range is going to be limited, Specialized has an answer for that. The main battery on this bike, 48 volts. They say 320 watt hours, but I measured it's closer to 330. So kind of interesting to see that. It's built into that down tube, not removable, but the weight is positioned really well. It's really clean. This is like one of the stealthiest electric bikes. There is a little bit of a whine when you pedal along on it. The Brose motors, they've got this kind of Gates carbon belt drive inside, and that smooths things out a little bit. It reduces some of the noise, but then again, it's a much more powerful motor, and so the noise ends up being kind of similar in my experience.
I agree. Okay. Yeah.
So coming back to some of the specs on this bike, comes in 4 frame sizes, full carbon frame, really nice, 2 colors. So this one's sort of the clear carbon fiber, and it almost at times you're like, oh, did I damage my frame? But that's just the carbon sheets kind of being laid next to each other, and they have this really cool reflection happening. I love that they're protecting the frame super well all over the place. So you've got some rubber along the bottom, so if the chain bounces up, these big nubby slap guard right here, and then there's even some slap guard material right there on what would be like the seat stay. They use the horse link design, 4-bar, they call it FSR. This is an amazing drivetrain, 12 speeds, 10 to 50 tooth SRAM GX. It's got the roller clutch in here, so you can kind of push down on it, engage that clutch, and makes it easier to get the wheels off. Neither one of these wheels have quick release. They do have the little SWAT tool right there in the stem, which is really nice. Very short stem, carbon fiber spacers to keep that weight light, really wide handlebar, and these are 29ers. They don't do the 650B anymore, which is kind of interesting to me because I actually bought one of the first like turbo Levo Experts with the original Brose motors years ago. I really enjoyed that bike. It was heavier, and there was just something nice about the big wide tires But now that it's more of like a nimble, active bike, having the narrower 29ers, I think that probably reduces some of the weight and it reduces some of the friction on the trail. So we're getting more into like the enthusiast, like bicycle side of things versus electric bike. This is really bridging those two I guess categories of riding for me. And this is, again, for me personally, as kind of a fitness rider, I really like this, and I've had no problem like climbing up these trails. None of it's been super steep. We aren't on the really tall stuff yet, but it's been very satisfying, and I can stand up and feel my own energy actually expressing really well through this bike. Okay, so coming back to the tires, 29 by 2.3. This one's called a Butcher, and it's got the grid trail grip and grip ton, and in the back they've got the eliminator. So they're doing the thing where this one has smaller nubs that are a little bit tighter to give you some traction. This one, they're a space further apart to dig in a little bit to give you better steering characteristics. 150 millimeters of travel on both the Fox 34 millimeter black anodized stanchions, and then back here we've got the, let's see, come on the other side, both of them having compression and rebound adjust. This is the Fox Float DPS. Both very nice suspension designs. You can see the single arm over here on this side of the frame, so they're trying to keep it light. Really beautiful. I love that they were able to fit the bottle cage there, so you could use that for fluids if you want, but otherwise this is what it looks like to plug into the side of the frame. Now we are on the non-drive side of the bike, right? We got the disc brakes over here, 200 millimeter 180 millimeter rotors, quad piston calipers. Really nice setup, but what you'll notice is that the charging port is pretty low. It's right there next to that crank arm, and if you're laying the bike down, we've kind of got it wedged in between a rock, but there's no kickstand provision. If you're laying this bike down, to charge the bike, you kind of have to like bring the cable around under the side of it. I'll try to demonstrate over here. We've got the S-Works, it's laying down on its side, and the charging port's on the other side of the bike, so you kind of got to plug it in, or maybe you lean it against a desk or a wall or something, then the bike could tip over. And these are such nice expensive bikes, you just, to me it's like, you know, I wish they would have put it on this side. I wish it was a little bit higher up. You know, at the end of the day, this might have been a weight savings thing. They do have a Y splitter cable now, so you can charge the range extender while you're charging the main battery. This stuff all costs extra, by the way. Okay, so it's like $450 just for this bottle battery range extender, they call it. And then that cable right there, $45 extra, so $500 roughly. And you got to pay extra for this splitter. Here's the charger. It's 3 amp. It weighs about 1.9 pounds, so you know it's fairly compact, a little bit faster than some of the other ones. We've had good luck charging this bike and getting out for a ride quickly. Kind of neat to see this whole bike just laid out. Of course, this has boost hub spacing, through axles, 15 millimeter, 12 millimeter in the rear, 148 millimeter hub spacing back there. Same tires and everything on these two bikes, but you might notice that this has the Kashima coating on the Fox factory tuned, and these are all trail tuned, by the way. And then we've got the Kashima coating back here as well. So some of the other big differences is that this one has an electronic seat post dropper, which is really cool, from RockShox Reverb. That one has a mechanical dropper. This one has carbon fiber bar, carbon fiber cranks, carbon fiber cage right here. This is pretty cool. I haven't really seen that too many places. And of course it says S-Works, and it comes in this slightly different colorway. There is one more color, it's sort of like olive with aqua. I haven't seen that one yet, but really just the experience I'm having on this bike is very satisfying, and I think it speaks to more like it's kind of a sportier rider, but takes you a little bit further, maybe takes the edge off. It's perfect for me because I have that knee injury, and there's a huge range of those gears, so I can downshift, and then the motor can be really effective, especially in turbo mode.
I mean, I think we're seeing with this that the electric mountain bike is finally going to probably make more inroads into the traditional. There's been a lot of resistance, a lot of hating basically on the
stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And I think this is kind of blurs the line between electric and conventional.
Well said. And it's specialized, so a lot of hardcore enthusiasts, they respect that brand, and I think this is their answer for people who maybe you're just getting a little bit older, maybe you want to ride further, maybe you're cross training, so there are athletes who are breaking down their muscle and then they want to keep their cardio up, and you still want to go mountain biking. Well, this is an answer for you. It takes the edge off a little bit.
And I remember back when mountain bikes used to weigh this much. The regular mountain bike used to weigh you know, 38 pounds was not crazy for a full suspension mountain bike.
It's incredible. Just being able to lift this thing up and move it around, having those sizes, having a big network of dealers who can help you out get this thing set up right. They've got a 2-year comprehensive warranty. This is a class 1 electric bike, meaning 20 mile per hour top speed. So it's permissible on more trails, like all across North America, which is nice. It's kind of the right answer for now. I personally feel like you can go way over 20 miles per hour going downhill. So someday it'd be nice if they open up the speed pedelec, because that was really awesome on the Creos. They're class 3. Definitely check that out if you get a chance. Down here, you can see that they've got this like plastic vented motor like scuff guard. Just wanted to give you a close-up of this narrow wide chain ring, 30 teeth on both of them, again 10 to 50. Another difference over here is that with the Eagle, we've got a gold painted, really nice, kind of tying into the Kashima, but it's actually CNC'd steel. 9 of those sprockets, or the cogs, are from one single chunk of steel, versus over here they're kind of bolted together. I went really in depth with this when I was getting all the stats, so check that back out the site. I really like the brake levers here. They've got reach adjust, and then they've also got this contact adjust. So, you know, reach adjust brings the lever in a little closer to you, and contact is how far do you pull until it actually starts to bite into the rotors there. I do like the shifters here. They let you dump 5 gears at once with that low shifter, and then 1 with the high shifter. So be careful on this. This motor does not have shift detection. Again, 35 Newton meters of torque, 240 watts nominal and peak power is what they say, which is kind of interesting to hear. The point being, it's measuring your rear wheel speed, pedal cadence, and pedal torque, but it's not really measuring. It doesn't know that you're shifting. So if you're dropping a whole bunch of gears and you're climbing, just like with a traditional mountain bike, you kind of want to ease off a little bit. And now you've got the extra power of the motor, and it's quick, but it's not perfectly instant, and so you could end up bending some of those sprockets and messing up your chain and stuff. So just be thoughtful when you shift and how you shift. I do like that the magnetic reader is mounted on the disc brake rotor, so it's really tucked in. You don't have a magnet on one of the spokes, and there's no extra little plastic thing that's going to get bumped. There's a kind of a flip chip thing up here, so you can actually shorten and lower the bike a little bit, and if you wanted to, you could swap these 29ers out for 650B 27.5 inch tires. We think up to 2.4, maybe 2.6. We weren't able to get confirmation on that from Specialized, but that's kind of neat for someone who wants to lower the platform a bit and create a bit more width. If you just like that ride style, it's going to give you a little bit more stability. These 29ers have a really low attack angle, which is nice. You can just roll right over stuff, and it's very efficient in that sense. It's also very comfortable. So, you know, when you combine the suspension and everything, of course, the dropper seat post comes in multiple different sizes. Same with the crank arms, 165 all the way up to 175. But be careful, you know, if you lower it with the flip chip and then you've got the longer cranks, you're going to get pedal strikes a little bit more. And you can see these pedals have been banged around quite a bit because this is a demo bike. I like that they've got this little chain retainer, and you can flip it up to get the chain off, but that's going to keep it from bouncing off while you're riding. However, I have gotten a little rock from the trail, like ended up caught like right in there. So just something I noticed. I'm not really sure if there's a solution for that. Maybe in the future there could be more of a shield or something. Yeah, Charlie, is there anything else that's coming to mind from you? Sure.
So one thing they've done now is gone to non-gender specific design.
Oh yeah.
And they have on the smallest size, they switched to a wider saddle for
that was such a good observation.
Yeah, for the
presumably for females.
Yeah, for the sits bones are wider apart, so it's a 155 versus a 143. And that's really where this feature, which is great now, that you can change if you have smaller hands and you want to pull that lever in, if you normally did that, you would all of a sudden your brakes would be engaged and you have to bleed the brakes.
Yeah.
With this, you can change that contact point of where it's hitting the, and that means you can adjust it for any rider pretty easily.
Very cool. The other thing we were talking about while we were gathering specs is that there's only one mounting clamp right here, and it holds your shifter as well as your brake lever. So it's just a really clean setup up here. All the wires and cables, everything are internally routed through the frame. The only e-bike sort of related component that's on the handlebars is this little button pad. And they didn't have this on the Creos. This is just for the Levos. Really interesting. Walk mode, that's something they've added since the last time I've reviewed one of these bikes, and it engages super fast. So you're not going to be left hanging, waiting. You're not going to have to press one button and then another button. It just works. You press it, it goes. You can plus or minus to raise or lower your assist level. There are, they say 4, because they consider off an assist mode, which kind of makes sense given that the bike is fairly lightweight and nimble in that sense. And then S up here just takes you to the highest level of assist. This is what they call the TCU, Turbo Connect Unit. I'm going to power it on right here. You can see these blue dots go all the way up. There are 9 of them. So let me see if I can, there it is. So right now we've got some blue on the top and then some green on the bottom. The green designates this range extender. So it offers 5 more bars. And as the blue goes down and the green goes down, if they're next to each other, they sort of split the space on the LED readout. It's pretty intuitive once you get it, but at first you're like, what does this mean? Ultimately, I love that without the range extender, you've got 10 bars because that represents 10% steps. A lot of e-bikes only give you 5 bars, and maybe it's less and less relevant as e-bikes become lighter weight if you do get caught out there without electric assist, but it's nice. It's pretty well protected right here. You've got those 3. Right now we just have 2. Let me take it up to the 3rd level. See? There we go. And then I can take it down to off. So it's just, that's it, right? Like 3 levels of assist or off. You got some LEDs potentially shining up in your face unless you use the mission control app.
That's right.
You can disable those LEDs.
And with the mission control, you'll get a little more information. You'll get your battery state in percentage. So I think for a lot of us, like, we want to kind of know our burn rate on the battery if we're using too much power.
Yeah,
that was true mostly on the Levo, the full power Levo. With this one, I think you're going to sip power a little better no matter what.
Absolutely.
My experience.
Absolutely. And you know, the other cool thing we were talking about, there's like this SWAT tool. It's kind of right there in the stem. I like that, but I might want to use this space for the phone app, or they have the TCD Turbo Connect display. It's an LCD display that gives you a little bit more feedback about how fast you're going, how far you've gone, things like that a normal cycle computer give you, but it can give you calorie feedback.
Calorie, and most, I think for really active cyclists, it's got a watt meter measuring your output, so you know you're putting in enough effort to match the terrain and what you're trying to accomplish.
That's great. People who are training like triathletes and stuff, that's actually what I saw. There was a comment on the Specialized website, and someone was talking about how they were using it to train for triathlons, and they were able to sort of measure their own output and set up a training regimen, but go a little bit further and just have the e-assist as a backup. There's also the Ant Plus heart rate monitor option for these bikes. So they're really fitness oriented, which is great.
This TCD's display will also do your cadence. Not that that's very hard to determine, but it has a cadence meter.
Yeah.
Trip time, trip distance, time of day. I mean, there's some handy things for a trail application. You know, I mean, it is designed to. We don't have it here, but it's it's not super sturdy. It's designed to break off rather than break the display.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In the trail application, you might have that as a concern.
Okay, well, thank you for that input, Charlie. That's $90 if you want to get the TCD. And then he mentioned Cadence. These motors, they say they support up to 120 RPM, which is great. That's what Bosch was doing, and then a lot of the other companies got on board. In my experience, you can actually, it feels like you can go faster than 120. I love spinning quickly, and it means you can drop a bunch of those gears. Remember, like click, 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 like 5 of them, and then spin, spin, spin as you're approaching like a really tall hill without losing motor support. So I like that. I also want to point out down here that there is this little lever on the side of the range extender power cable, and you have to like click that into the up position before pulling out. We're trying to get that out before, and it just wasn't working, and so it really locks in securely. So you think about that rubber band, the secure locking. This is not making a lot of noise. It's not rattling around, which is kind of an issue on some of the other bikes that just have a battery like bolted onto the top tube. So really good weight distribution, really solid, excellent performance on this bike. I've had a blast with it. Again, we've got all the specs and stuff back at the website, but it was fun to look at these bikes side by side, and now we might go out and take a ride. Okay guys, I got it in the highest level of assist. I'm just going to pedal along on this rocky road, and there's a little bit of an incline, so I'll give you some feedback as we go. Okay, feeling pretty stable. I did start out in like a higher gear, so it took a minute to spin up, but this is what I'm talking about. Got that like 120 RPM matching. I'm still getting good motor support. I am not going 20 miles per hour, but I am climbing. So, I mean, this would be exhausting. I'd be out of breath if I wasn't using the e-bike. Now we'll switch some gears. Whoops. So I switched it down to the lowest gear just to give you guys some feedback about what this sounds like. Again, the highest level of assist. I'm gonna turn it off now. Yeah. Feels kind of like my traditional Stumpjumper, and that's what this is built around. That's sort of the geometry that they're borrowing from here. Not bad. Still a light climb. Feeling pretty good. Switch some gears. I swear it's important to be a little bit thoughtful, because, you know, if you're climbing and pushing hard and switching gears, you're going to be putting some real power into that drivetrain and potentially damaging it over time. This is sweet. Sweet. Okay guys, from here you can see that 30-tooth narrow wide chain ring. I love that it's got a little retainer, lightweight, compact. And then back here, you've got that huge 10 to 50 tooth cassette. And if you look on the website, the marketing is like, there's no reason to have anything besides a 1x now, because we've got such a great range and it's facilitated by the boost hub spacing and everything. So I'm gonna pedal through, start it off in turbo mode, the highest level of assist, so you can see how quickly it starts and stops and what this thing looks like and sounds like in action. Okay guys, we're going on to some pavement, and the idea is that you won't get the trail noise. We're definitely going to be able to exceed 20 miles per hour, so listen for how the motor sort of eases out once we get to that speed, because it's really nice. It doesn't just drop out suddenly like some of the other systems. And again, there's no drag, there's no reduction gearing or anything. Okay guys, if you've seen any of the videos Charlie and I did on the Kenevo or the original Levos, you know I do the stair climb. So I want to see what that's like with the new SL motor. Oh yeah, it gave me a good kick. I went in with low speed purposefully to see how much boost the power would give me when I was climbing. And the motor was pretty effective. I'm gonna do that one more time. Okay. This time with a little bit more speed. No problem. And I think the 29ers help a lot with that. Not floating quite as much as it would. Nice. Just wanted to see how this does on a steeper hill. You got to shift down a little bit, but no problem. Pretty sweet. Dropping some gears. It's very capable. I'm digging this. The SL motor gets the job done. Hey, Charlie.
Pretty sweet, huh?
Very sweet. It climbed great. Cool. Ready to head back?
Oh yeah.
Just got to remember to downshift. There we go. Nice. This is the one with more pawls, right? You're on the one with
the star. I think they call it. This is the three. That's the 3-pawl one, and this is the star pawls.
Yeah, you can hear it coast without pedaling. Yeah. So it just grabs a lot faster as soon as you start pedaling.
I'm assuming 5 positions rather than 3.
Yeah.
Oh, it's noticeably quieter, isn't it?
Yeah, mine is. The Expert's quieter than S-Works.
I think it's angled.
Well, guys, that's about it. Thanks for joining us and checking out these awesome new e-bikes. It was really a privilege to get out here and be one of the first people to get to ride these. Again, thank you, Charlie. Your shop carries a whole bunch of specialized products in. Last year we reviewed like the Como, the Vado, and the other Levo, even the Kenevo. It was a blast. I'm really a big fan of these SL motors. Yes, it's more active and kind of lighter weight, but I still think you could get great range and have a blast on these things.
Outstanding range. Yeah.
It's just wonderful. And then those bottle, you can carry a bunch with you. We were talking about how stealthy these bikes look. I mean, yeah, you know, there's a little bit of noise being produced, but just the way the wire's tucked in and so close to the frame, and it almost looks like a water bottle. It's just nice. Like, the sport's really progressing, and I credit Specialized with doing something special and unique here with this new motor system. I mean, they really took a risk, and I think it's turning out great.
Absolutely.
Sweet. So for the full written review, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. Got some forums and stuff. You can chime in and share your own experience. There's also a comparison tool, so you can compare these bikes to some of the other EMTB models for 2020 and beyond. Love ya. Ride safe. We'll see you next time.